Hi folks, this is Glenn Guy, the travel photography guru. I'd like to talk to you today briefly about a photography tour I'm running to China during January 2012. The tour is going to take us to numerous photographic hotspots in China, all around the east of the country. And on the first day we'd visit the capital Beijing, which of course was the home of the emperor and the seat of power in the country. And it's a wonderful place to photograph. It's fronted by Tiananmen Square, so we would get to walk through and around Tiananmen Square and then enter the main gates of the Forbidden City. And the Forbidden City is a wonderful place for architectural photography, both in colour and black and white. So this is at the main entrance, one of the girls that was doing the tickets. Straightforward image. I just asked for permission. Just a few words in English and a gesture with the camera, and she was happy to comply. And this is generally what I find, that being a visitor from a foreign land, it would be very rare for me to be rejected when I ask permission for a portrait. So there are many buildings like this inside the Forbidden City. It's a very, very large complex. We easily spend several hours wandering around taking photographs, which is what we would do. Some of the halls and smaller buildings around the Forbidden City you can enter and walk through. Others you view from a distance, such as this one. And you'll notice there are people in the photograph. Well, that's sort of unavoidable in a place like China with so many people. These heavily touristed places. But really it's just a matter of incorporating the people into the photograph. And from my point of view, a good way to incorporate people into your photos is to use them in such a way to give a sense of scale. So we get to feel how large that building is by having the human element in the foreground. And it's not hard to make pictures of people, of strangers. It's just a matter of approaching them in a confident manner, forming an interaction with them, asking permission, establishing a dialogue, and then getting on with it and making the portrait. You don't need to talk to them for 10 minutes before you ask about the photo. If they see a camera dangling around your neck, they'll half suspect that that's what you want to do. So really a minimum of words, get to the point, ask permission, make your photo, and be on your way. And the results are good. And in this case, you know, this pretty girl, but what was particularly interesting to me, I guess, was her location near this wall. So I'd actually walked past the wall, just around the corner, literally 10 seconds away. This girl was walking in the opposite direction. I noticed the large handbag she was wearing, and it immediately reminded me of the colour I'd just witnessed in the wall. So I simply asked permission for the portrait, and as I was walking and talking to her, it was only a matter of seconds before we came back to the wall, and that's where I positioned her. So in some respects it's quite a busy image, but the connection between those yellow oranges is strong. And also, you know, some of the features on the wall I think are quite interesting, sort of from a documentary point of view. Many, many details to photograph around the Forbidden City. Black and white's a good option for a whole lot of reasons. It's good in architecture because if you're photographing space, you know, a sense of space, if you're exploring various shapes and textures, light and dark tones in the image, shadows, all of those elements are particularly strong in black and white because the viewer doesn't have to deal with colour. So those other design elements come to the fore much more in a black and white picture. Therefore, for the black and white picture to work, those elements other than colour need to be strong inside your photographic composition. But you'll notice that going from a colourful image to black and white, then back to colour again, the colour's actually particularly strong. So they do work well against each other, black and white positioned amongst your colour images. So the two red images are connected, I believe, more strongly by having a different image, in this case a black and white, situated in between them. And of course, millions of people visit the Forbidden City every year, so it's always worthwhile trying to establish your own personal approach to the location. And you know, one obvious thing is that the colour red dominates It's a very potent and important colour in China. It signifies good luck, prosperity. The other thing you try to do is make images that tell stories. You don't need to be exploring political elements. You could certainly be exploring historical elements in a place like the Forbidden City, but you could also be exploring the type of people who work there, the type of people who visit. And of course, it's always great in a place like that, a capital city, a dominant architectural complex, to be looking for iconic images. But in addition to that, look for the fleeting moment. And the fleeting moment often comes with the introduction of people into your photographs, because the fleeting moment is somewhat unpredictable. So the trick is to be able to anticipate something that's going to happen and be ready for the shot. So this is actually just above the entrance to Tiananmen Square. And it was a very difficult shot to make because I'm effectively looking straight into the sun. It did require a bit of processing to calm the image down somewhat, but the red flags flying against the very, very bright sun on a cold winter's day. So I'm off to China in 2012 for a photographer's tour, and I hope as many of you as possible will contact me and express an interest in the tour. It's during January 2012. The dates aren't exactly fixed in, but it will be January, and it'll probably be quite early in the month. Great for folks from Northern America and Europe because it's already winter, so they won't be missing anything. For folks from the Southern Hemisphere, of course, it's our summer in that time of year, but a short 10-day trip isn't, I don't think you're going to be losing too much of summer in that period. There'll be a maximum of 10 people on the tour, so I'm very keen to work closely with people, and I find that I often make great friends when I run tours. We get to know each other, we get to bond, all of us in the group, very closely. It's fantastic. So the inclusions would be all of your accommodation, meals, internal flights in China. There would be 3 internal flights that I'm looking at. All local transport, that's all paid for. It's included in the cost of the tour. In addition, of course, with the heavy influence on photography, there'll be a variety of theory sessions, but the way I explain theory is really in absolutely layman's terms. Practical photography sessions that will relate specifically to each of the locations we're going to visit, and the particular challenges and opportunities of those locations. There'll be image processing sessions, plus a few surprises. So I'll be delivering this information in a variety of ways, which I will explain down the track. But it's always designed to be explained and provided in a way where people will understand it and when they're in the right frame of mind for the information. I've been teaching for a long time, so I've got some good tactics in relation to that, some good approaches. So the tour excludes your international airfares to and from China, any drinks and snacks you might need during the 10 days, and obviously any accommodation and associated costs that you may incur prior to the commencement of the tour or after the tour, because clearly some people may decide to spend a little bit of extra time in China outside of those 10 days. You can find me on my blog, travelphotographyguru.com, on Facebook and on Twitter. Now, I'll be posting probably about half a dozen of these short talks relating to the tour over the next 2 weeks, and we'll get to explore all the places that we will be photographing on the tour. Hope you've enjoyed the presentation, and I look forward to meeting as many of you as possible in the not too distant future.